Oh, let's see here. All right. All right. We are live. We are live. Once again, welcome to the Foxtrot Sierra Podcast. This is your host, Franco Sierra. Here we go. All right, welcome back. Hey, what do you guys think of that song? Well, another funny story to tell you before we start the show. Okay, remember that copyright ding that I got on the first two episodes? Yeah, if you go back to it, you notice that the first episode's intro and outro, somehow the video got cut off. And the second video, the intro and outro music is muted. Well, I tried to get them both muted, but I accidentally deleted that segment on the first episode. Well, I was trying to, get rid of that copyright violation. Well, what happened was, okay, I thought that, taking a 60-second song is going to be a big deal, though, but MGM Studios didn't like that, so okay, whatever. I'll just find a cover of a good song. Nothing go wrong, right? See covers all the time. Nope. Apparently, someone had that copyright claim as well, so guess it got another ding. Well, they leveled up, I leveled down. But anyway, long story short, I went on Fiverr and reached out to a guy named Alexander Lapko. Shout out to him. And in fact, shout out to Alexander Lapko for helping me out. We settled, a business arrangement. Gave me an undisclosed amount if he can give me a good intro and outro song without any copyrights. And I'll even credit him for it, too. And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever you want. But yeah, he did a good job. I loved it. First time I heard it, I was just banging my head. I'm like, yeah. So, once again, shout out to you, Alexander Lapko. Check him out. Anyway, back to the show. Okay. Oh, I see the chats here. Oh, hang on. There we go. Oh, Shambles. Hey, what's going on, buddy? My Australian buddy. Oh, we got another Australian here. Let's see what we got here. Hey, my life coach, Christopher Mayer. Yeah, long story short, I'm involved in a male accountability group. We try to level each other up. And I came across these two young gentlemen, especially this man over here, Christopher Mayer. Shout out to him. He pretty much helped me throughout my first year of my divorce, pretty much. Long story short, this guy, helped me answer, questions that no one will give me the answer to, let's just say. And his perspective was so clear, brutally, but clear, that, hey, this man is earning my respects, so shout out to you, brother. Anyway. All right. Okay, also, Instagram. Let's see here. You can check me out on Instagram at the Foxtrot Sierra Podcast, where I post shorts and I make some short stories on the side too. Yesterday, I posted a short story on the ANZAC, which we will be talking about right now. If you know what the ANZAC is, just hang on. We'll get to it. All right. Okay. Okay, review from last episode. Episode 2, we reviewed on how the Schlieffen plan failed. Okay, you know how, like, there was supposed to be a button hook around Paris, knock out any French resistance as they possibly could, take them out quickly, and then get to the Russians? Well, yeah, instead of button hooking left around France, the German First Army under the command of General von Kluck just went kind of straight east, just to help his one buddy. But that really screwed up. But the whole plan was screwed. It relied on good coordinate timing, I should say. And we all know that. And plus, these guys even have a backup plan. So that kind of screwed them over as well. So you can have how you say, a watertight sealed plan. Though, but hey, as what von Clausewitz would say, and I'm just paraphrasing here, no plan survives contact with the enemy. So some asshole is going to like chuck a monkey wrench down your plans and it's going to screw everything up. So you got to be prepared for that and have like a plan B, C, or maybe D for that. But anyway, which Schlieffen plan didn't have. So, yeah. Anyway, now let's get to the good stuff. All right. All right, here we go. The origins of the ANZAC. Okay, for those that you don't know what ANZAC means, it's an acronym for the Australia New Zealand Army Corps. And we're going to go in detail with that. Okay, origins. Okay, at the time, Australia had only a population of roughly 5 million. The small army force only consists of mostly artillerymen and engineers responsible for coastal defenses. All right. And then, during the Boer War campaign, 16,000 Australians fought for Britain in the Boer War campaign, therefore making the Australian soldier combat tested. All right, so they got their fair share of action. The Empire liked what they saw and keeping these guys around. Pretty soon to be born badasses. I might. I'm just kidding. Anyway, where am I? Even before the First World War even broke out, the Australian Parliament pledged to support Britain. Like, the war hasn't started yet, and the government's like, hey, we'll back you. Like, no what ifs or buts. Like, hey, we'll back you. And then I wonder what their minds went through when the war actually started. And they're like, oh. Well, anyway, who knows? All right, here we go. The Defense Act of 1903 prevented conscripts to deploy in overseas fighting. Okay, the difference between conscripts in New Zealand and Australia is like, New Zealand will enlist, will get conscripts. Australia was like somewhat anti-conscript. They prefer volunteers, and during that war, it was very hard to find. And they actually voted twice for conscription. Got shut down twice. So Australia never had any conscription. But we'll get more in detail on that later. All right. It was decided that a new volunteer force, separate from the militia and regular force, to go, quote unquote, wherever the Empire desires. All right. The Australian Imperial Force, the AIF, was created. The plan was to raise 20,000 men, but by the end of 1914, over 50,000 Australians were accepted into service. So they get a certain amount. War at the time was kind of somewhat popular. Well, popular, I mean, like, people really didn't know what they were getting themselves into. They didn't see the blood, the gore that we see right now, because we all know war is ugly. I'm just keeping it 100. But at the time, the men like kind of felt like, it's an adventure, it's excitement. Who knows what kind of adventures we might get into. So that was their mindset at the time. Then until they see the casualty trains comes in. guys with missing limbs, bloodied, faces even blown off, and somehow living. And they start to have second thoughts. Most of them, they're like, oh, what did I get myself into? Well, if you're actually a logical human, that would come across your mind. But yeah. Anyway, now that wasn't just in Australia. This is Canada, Great Britain, South Africa, even America. All right. 6,500 New Zealanders also fought for Britain during the Boer War campaign, therefore also making the New Zealander soldier combat tested. Guys, like the video when you come in. It will really help me out with the algorithm. And I'm giving you a free education here, guys. Come on. Like the video. Alright. During World War I, New Zealand Parliament pledged 8,500 men to go to war, creating the New Zealand Expeditionary Force. The New Zealand Expeditionary Force, also known as the NZEF. Alright, the first convoy of the AIF joined with the NZEF and sailed together to Egypt in 10 ships under escort. Alright, I'm just gonna stop this video for a sec and rewind back to episode 1. Okay, remember when I told you guys that, I was talking about the German possessions, and I was talking about their Pacific possessions, and when I said, okay, the ANZAC came up, yeah, that was a mistake of mine, and I apologize for that. They weren't called the ANZAC at the time, so I just had to correct myself on that. But, yeah, I just want to tell you that. But anyway, back to the show. Alright, guys in the chat, just tell me how's the volume, if the sound effects needs to be louder, or if I need to be louder. No? Guess we're good? Anyway. Alright. Anyway, speak of the devil. The first engagement of the war. Alright. Believe it or not, New Zealand was actually one of the first nations to engage in hostilities. At the request of the British Empire, New Zealand dispatches a force of 1,400 troops to take German Samoa on 29 or 30 of August, 1914. And that's another island that I forgot to list. Did I list German Samoa? I'm not too sure. But if I didn't, I apologize. But anyway. Alright. And also, the Australian Navy and Military Expeditionary Force was dispatched to take German Pacific territory. And on the 11th and the 17th of September, 1914, a small Australian force landed at German New Guinea to take a wireless station. 7 Australians were killed in action. And it was known as the Battle of Beta Paca. Alright, so back up. Don't mind my dog. Alright, anyway. Remember when I told you on episode 1 when the German Pacific territories besides Tsingtao didn't fight, they just surrendered? Well, I forgot to add to the part that Beta Paca happened, and that was the only engagement that happened. Alright, that's what the chat's going on. Ooh, pretty good. Thanks, brother. Sound is good, dude. Oh, appreciate it, Mayor. Alright. And am I going to talk about anything else happen? Sorry, I'm just looking through my notes here to make sure I didn't miss anything. Because I want to get you guys all of this sauce here. And all right. Here we go. The moment that you people have been waiting for. Actually, not yet. I was going to talk about the Gallipoli Campaign, though, but here we go. Forgot about this. The official formation. All right. December 1914, the AIF and the NZEF in Egypt were combined into the Australian New Zealand Army Corps, also known as ANZAC. Boom. There we go. That's your official. And it was under the command of General William Birdwood, who was born in Bombay, British India. So, you don't have an Australian, and you don't have a New Zealander commanding Australians and New Zealanders. You have a British subject from British India who grew up royally, let's just say, or whatever. And so that kind of like brought somewhat resentment. And they're like, hey, why can't we command our own troops? The Canadians have done it. Why can't we? No, but you know how the Crown is. They like to be dumbass. Anyway. Alright, guys, if you guys have any questions, just shout them out. I got a mind dragging this out a little to answer some questions. And I'm also live on Instagram, so guys on Instagram, come over on YouTube and like that video if you want to hear some sound effects. Like. Oh yeah, we are marching, baby. Alright, the Corps was originally to be trained in trench warfare to the Western Front. So, like, they brought them all the way to Egypt and trained them to fight, like, in the Western Front. Trench warfare, like, which just happened, the Schlieffen Plan failed. The race to the sea pretty much ended at the First Battle of Ypres. And any reinforcements. But however, with the Ottomans entering the war with the Triple Alliance, that all changed. And now, you have an enemy in the Middle East. Even though the Ottoman Empire was like a dying empire, was corrupt as and greedy as, but they still have a powerful military. And they can do a lot of damage. Like I'm talking about. Like they can hold their own. So, Cairo and the Suez Canal were potential targets. Therefore, when decision was made to send ground troops to the Dardanelles, sending the ANZACs there made both logical and logistical sense. There you go. So in other words, okay, they're in Egypt, and we got a new enemy, and we need to put them out quickly. So, we got an elite unit that's right around the corner. Let's just use these guys. Saves us gas and time, right? Oh, Mayor, well, what do you say? You better mention ANZAC Biscuits. Dude, you better mail me ANZAC Biscuits. We don't have them here in Canada, dude. Like, at least that I know of. Like, that is a Aussie and Kiwi thing. Like, you guys looked down on that one. He goes, okay, long story short about the ANZAC Biscuit. Okay, this was the rations of the ANZAC during war. And apparently, soldiers liked it. It was great. And after the war, they kind of made it into a thing to commemorate these men. And now, you have some apparent awesome cookies that I want to try really bad. But I can't because I don't have any access to them that I know of. So, any of my Canadian contacts know where I can get some. That'd be great. Oh, that was good. Thanks for that, Mayor. Okay. And for those on Instagram, if you didn't know what I was talking about, hop over on YouTube. All right. Oh, hang on. Correction. Biscuit, not cookie. Thank you for that, Shambles. Sorry, I'm a Canadian here, so. And I gotta stop saying that word a lot. God damn. Alright, I'm not sorry. It's a bloody cookie! No, it's a biscuit. ANZAC Biscuits. Alright, I was just clowning. No, seriously, I gotta try those things, man. Okay. Before I go on, well, after this slide, I will take you to Google Earth and show you exactly where these places are. You're probably like, hey, what's the Suez Canal? Where's the Dardanelles? Oh, who do we got here? Belle R. All right, what is she up to? Hold on. Oh. Hang on. Sorry about this, guys. This is screwing on me. Okay, I'll fix that later, but I will read you her question. Even though it made logistical sense, there was a major failure to provide proper preparation and training. What would you rate as the number one failure in the plan that led to it being a wash? Oh, good question. We are going to get to that. Ooh, it's actually, I think it's on my slide. Okay. Hopefully, this slide will actually answer your question. Anyway, in November 1914, Anglo-French ships bombarded the Ottoman forts of Suvla Bay and Calais, and which guarded the Dardanelles Straits. Okay, so I have this map highlighted, so just to help you out where everything is. All right, those are the two forts. They're pretty much the gatekeepers to the Dardanelles. All right, and they want to knock them out. And I'll tell you the whole concept of the plan. Okay, the objective of this campaign was to relieve the Russians, also to open another front to divert Germans from the Western Front to the Ottoman Front. And this was Winston Churchill's plan. Winston Churchill, the first Lord of the Admiralty, proposed a plan to use warships into the Dardanelles. And these warships, I'm telling you, these were obsolete ships. And I'll tell you why. Later, he used them. The plan was to take the straits, in which led to the Ottoman capital of I'm going to have trouble saying this. Constantinople. Today's Istanbul. If Constantinople, if Istanbul were captured, it will open the gateway to the Black Sea, and the Allies can reinforce the Russians with supplies and munitions. So, why were they so eager to to help the Russians? All right. Uh-oh. Hang on. What happened? Ugh. Guys, my notebook fell. And it hit some keys. It wasn't supposed to hit some keys. Alright. Let me just exit here. Maybe this will help. Nope. Going live. Biatch. Alright. Oh, and we're back. Alright. Anyway. Oh, and also, okay. Doing it live, yeah. Alright, damn, I'm kind of lost here. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna read this again. If Constantinople were to be captured, it will open the gateway to the Black Sea, and the Allies can reinforce the Russians with supplies and munitions. Okay, right before I screwed everything up, I'm gonna tell you why they were so eager to help the Russians. All right, now I'll take it to a quick timeline here. Okay, on 7th of February 1915, the Second Battle of the Masurian Lakes happened. Field Marshal von Hindenburg launches a winter offensive, and ended up being another massive victory for the Germans. Russians lose up to 200,000 men. So yeah, half surrendered amid freezing winter conditions. Okay, but the Russians kind of get a foothold. On the 22nd of March, the fall of Przemysl, Russians gain a victory after a 4-month siege. Russians take 100,000 prisoners. Estimated Austro-Hungarian casualties, 2 million in all of March. So you would think, okay, Russians got the upper hand. But however, on the 2nd of May, the Gorlice-Tarnow offensive, joint German and Austro-Hungarian offensive in Galicia breaks through Russian defenses. Przemysl recaptured. So all that effort just to recapture the city. And 100,000 prisoners taken. And it starts beginning of a steady advance against Russia. So they're like, holy, we're going to have a problem in our hands. Like, our third ally, we're going to lose him if we don't act quickly. So, alright. I'm going to take you to Google Earth. Alright. Alright. Let's go around the world, shall we, folks? And here we go to Istanbul, Constantinople at the time. Alright, so you have Istanbul here. And that little strait, like right here, gives you access to the Black Sea. Alright. Okay, here we go. Here, where you see that target, that's where the Dardanelles is. Here is Egypt. Yeah, here's Egypt, right where the ANZAC was camping. And here is the Dardanelles. Okay, you see that axis there. If the Allies can get a foothold of that and quickly get rid of the Ottomans out of the war, they can supply the Russians, the Russian allies, and give them victory. But as towards Bell R's question, why was a failure anyway? Well, they kind of underestimated their enemy. Because Winston Churchill and the British High Command really thought that the Ottomans were not just broken and corrupt, but they're weak and they're subhuman, and they don't have a match for the soldiers of the British Empire and his subjects. So yeah, underestimating the enemy was one problem. Second problem was Churchill was using ships that were outdated and obsolete, thinking, we're facing a inferior enemy anyway, so might as well use some out-of-date stuff anyway. But the guns do some damage, and that's all they cared about. As long as they can fire the guns, all is gravy. That kinda, bit him in the ass. That was another problem. And they were... Actually, I had this on the slide. Okay. So, I was supposed to show you where the Suez Canal is. Sorry about that, folks. Okay. We zoom out. Alright. Suez Canal. And here we go. That's exactly where it is. You've probably seen this before. You know how those bunch of ships jammed some time ago? Yeah, this is it right here. And this was a target for the Triple Alliance. And I'm pretty sure the Germans will love to get their hands on this. And it was in British hands. No way the Brits would give it up. Alright. And here you go. Here's Cyprus. Taking around the world, baby. And we're looking at Greece. Alright. And here it is, the Black Sea. And the Black Sea has access to all those Russian ports that they can just give them munitions, materials, like whatever they need to take on the Germans and the Austro-Hungarians. And also their new enemy, the Ottomans. And they kind of kicked off the Battle of the Caucasus. All right. All right. Anyways, another reason why what went wrong: trying to minesweep the straits while simultaneously destroying gun ports proved to be an impossible task for the Allies, causing 3 warships to be sunk and I believe 5 more damaged. And so they had to call off the attack. So if you look at the blue highlighter at the map there, and you see like a whole bunch of X's running around the river, yeah, those are mines. And you see those red arrows pointing at the shoreline, pointing at the straits. Yeah, those are gun ports. Yeah. You can see what went wrong. They completely underestimated their defenses and their capability to defend themselves. And even though the Ottomans were also using, like, out-of-date guns. Like, these guns were obsolete, but these guns can do some damage. And damage they did. Alright. And here we go. The moment that you've been waiting for. It is the Gallipoli Campaign. On the 25th of August, 1915, the Allies land at Gallipoli. The objective was to take the shore guns that are threatening Allied warships so they can sail safely to the Dardanelles. But it was met with fierce Ottoman resistance, led by an Ottoman commander named Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, also known as, later founded the Republic of Turkey after the war, and it was known as the father of all Turks. So, you have this guy that the ANZACs were facing, Mustafa Kemal, and this guy is a seasoned commander. Like, he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly how he uses men. Yeah. They got tough fire in their hands. Okay. the ANZAC forces were supposed to land at Gallipoli, but someone upped the landing a mile off north to where they supposed to land. Later, that new landing site was known as ANZAC Cove. Alright, so you see the orange and yellow highlighter. Okay, the yellow highlighter is Gallipoli, what they were supposed to land. But they landed a mile up north, so now it's ANZAC Cove. And instead of like landing on, decent terrain, they were kind of going through like bushlands, marshland. Like, I can't remember what they're fighting on though, but yeah, they were making it through. And at first, the landing itself was unopposed. Oh, the way they landed the beaches, it wasn't like Saving Private Ryan with motorized like landing craft, ramped down, guys charging in. Oh no. These guys had wooden rowboats that are trying to row while machine guns and artillery fires were shooting at them. That was another reason. Well, I won't say another reason why I failed, because that landing, it was successful at first, but still, they were getting fired on, and yeah, that won't be a situation that I don't want to be on. I don't want to be in. Like, if anything, I'd rather take the metal landing craft and take my chances. But at the time, that's all they worked with. And yeah, they made it work. Okay, anyway, the landing itself was unopposed, but in a few hours, the guns at Gallipoli opened fire with their shore guns, taking out ANZAC troops on the beach. Okay, so they had two choices: stay on the beach and get blown to pieces, or just fight forward and take our chances. And that's exactly what they did. Okay, the ANZACs were forced to move up north to the beach and press forward. If they don't, they'll get caught by the shore guns, of course. Okay, the defending Ottomans on ANZAC ran out of ammunition, so they were holding off on their own, though, but the ANZACs, you guys were just pretty much like, hang on, what should I tell you? You're going to like this here. Oh, spanking that ass. Like, you guys were spanking that ass. Like, the Ottomans were just throwing themselves at them, and there were, and the Aussies and the Qs were just like, just holding the line. Okay. Okay. The defending Ottomans on ANZAC ran out of ammunition and retreated north until Mustafa Kemal intercepted the retreating troops and they're like, "Hey, guys, where the are you going?" And they were like, "We ran out of ammunition. The enemy's coming up north." And he's like, No. Not going to happen. This is what you're going to do. He orders them to fix bayonets and lie on the ground as if being prepared to ambush them. And the plan worked, as ANZAC troops saw the defenders and took cover on their own, thus building trenches of their own. So they opened another trench line. And of course, you see at the map, okay, you see dark gray and light gray. Okay, the light gray represents the Ottomans. The dark gray represents the British, represents the Allies and ANZAC. Not many gains. Like I said, like the Ottomans, like they were not ready to get the homeland taken away from them. So, but like, hey, if you invade Australia or Canada, hey man, I grab my rifle and I defend the line. No way a foreign plane is gonna fly over my soil. Hell no. Yeah. Anyway. Where am I? Sorry guys, I'm kind of like lost here. Okay. Next slide. Okay, on 6th of August, 1915, Allied troops land at Suvla Bay, known as the Battle of Sierra Bay. Okay, this whole plan was to relieve ANZAC. And they're like, okay, what do we do? We're not making any good grounds, so we can all land up further north. So, they land there. You think, okay, everything is going good. But the Ottomans kind of knew what was going on, and they beat them to the punch. So, neither British, French, nor ANZAC troops can break the deadlock. And the whole campaign was tormenting to the Allied troops, not just by Kemal and his Ottoman soldiers, but by heat, flies, and sickness. Okay, let me tell you the conditions of what the ANZACs were living at the time. Okay, it being hot. They didn't really had any safe area to take a dump. Defecate. Take a. And so they try to build like train areas of their own, though, but they get filled up pretty quickly. And they couldn't build any more of them safely without getting shot at or blown to pieces. And so they decided, we'll just shit wherever. And according to Charles River editors, there are some ANZAC soldiers will just take a dump during the century. And they didn't have any toilet paper, so they used their hands and just wiped it against the wall. So yeah, that's pretty some disgusting. But what choice do they have? Though, but they didn't really figure out that stuff can really spread disease. Like, look what happened with the Romans. Like, you would think, like, corruption, like, made them collapse. Not necessarily. It was also, it was disease. They didn't have a proper irrigation system. That was one of the reasons why they collapsed, because people were dying from sickness. And that's exactly what happened with the ANZAC troops. And again, Charles recalled this in one of his audiobook that I was listening to. Oh, very fascinating stuff. He said that one ANZAC soldier, a New Zealander, trailed off somewhere and disappeared. Like, vanished. And his comrades thought, oh, he just probably went on the corner and died somewhere. Whatever. We all feel the same way. I'm probably thinking that myself. I think about doing that myself. That was going through their heads. Because remember, morale was super low. And everyone's getting sick, dying, not just by gunshots, but by disease. And so, they did find that guy. But it was so horrific that Alright, so I'm just going to say, they found him inside the latrine pool. So, somehow he fell inside a pool of his own comrades. Right? All that poop. He fell in there. And he was so weak that he couldn't pull himself up, nor try to call for help. So what happened? He just sat there and died slowly and agonizing. And when they found him, like, all their comrades were horrified. Completely horrified. And while I was listening to that, I was like, oh my God. Like, there's some people I don't like. Even I don't wish them that. Like, ugh. Anyway. That's just a taste of what these guys went through. Moving on. On 16 October 1915, Sir Ian Hamilton, the commander of the Allied forces in Gallipoli, was relieved from his command and was replaced by Sir Charles Munroe on the 31st of October 1915. Why was he relieved? Well, look at the situation. Nothing was making gains. But, according to the public, they were. They probably thought to themselves, oh, We have troops landing on the ground. We open on the front. They're doing well. But if you look at closer inside behind the scenes, no. Not very well. And so his first objective as commander was to abandon the campaign and evacuate the remaining Allied troops to safety. And you probably think to yourself, okay, if we evacuate, we are going to take some casualties. Though somehow it worked in his favor. We'll tell you in a minute. Between 18 December 1915 and January 1916, the Allies abandoned the Gallipoli Campaign, and by the 6th of January 1916, all Allied troops were evacuated without alerting the Ottomans. Not one Allied troop was lost, therefore making this evacuation a huge success. And both sides, Allied and Ottoman, each suffered 250,000 casualties. So by the Ottomans came back, and Mustafa Kemal was about to make an attack, and all of a sudden they go to the ANZAC's position, and crickets, no one's there. They're all gone. They're like, how the hell did that happen? Well, they did it in the cover of night, and they did it so quietly and so discreetly that it played in their favor. But yeah. See if I got any more stuff. Juggling 2 books here, guys. Okay. Ooh, we won't do that yet. All right. In addition, after the campaign, more battalions were formed within both AIF and the NZ. Oh, I already read that part already. Sorry. Anyway, March 1916, the ANZACs were actually after the campaign. They kind of like disformed and kind of separated, doing their own thing. Like AIF was back to being AIF, NZEF became back to being NZEF, until like March 1916. ANZAC was reformed to the ANZAC Mounted Division. It was formed by 3 Australians and 1 New Zealand brigades. And they fought in places like Palestine and Iraq. And those guys made huge success. Again, spanking that ass. All right. Conclusion. The Great War, particularly Gallipoli, affected both Australia and New Zealand immensely. The effects of war remained in the psyche of both nations today. 421,809 Australians served. 60,000 died. 137,000 wounded. Out of 32,000 AIF recruits, only 7,000 survived. Guys, that's a catastrophic loss. And 10% of New Zealand population fought in the war. 100,444 served, including Maori and Pacific Islanders. 16,697 died, and 41,317 wounded. All right. The loss of life, feelings of poor leadership, and lack of accountability from British officers and their politicians, disregarding the lives of colonial soldiers, and a baptism by fire in Gallipoli, Australians and New Zealanders established more independence from Britain. In addition, both nations emerged from the conflict as more independent actors in the world stage, with a stronger national identity. So right then and there, They just said, okay, let's just Australians command their own. Let's just the Kiwis command their own guys. That's it. And of course, ANZAC was briefly reformed again during the Second World War, during the Battle of Greece. And also the first ANZAC wireless signal squadron was a unit from the AIF, and they served in Mesopotamia, which is Iraq today, between 1916 and 1918. Again, huge success on their end. All right, so that is it. Hope you like that podcast. Like the video on your way in, and I hope that helped answer your question, Bill. I really hope it did. Oh, what we got here? Another chat. During that time, the Army soldiers got the name of diggers. Oh, that's interesting. All right. And that is it, folks. Oh, getting a little pacey here. All right. Well, I kind of want to say something else. I had something else in addition, though. What I forgot to write it down. And yeah, that was a dumbass thing of me to do. Okay. Anyway, if there are no more last minute questions, I will log out because I have to get up at 3:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. Yep, the life of a tradesman. So guys, before I go, like the video so I can level up. And thank you. And I'll see you on episode 4. And this time I will talk about the Eastern Front. Until then, good night.